welcome once again to Cheap Shot Entertainment. As you can see in that top corner, we have a new logo for you. I believe it is encompassing of everything we are at Cheap Shot Entertainment. Also brings it up to date a little bit with the current product of international professional wrestling. And obviously, as usual, I am your host, Luke. Everything that happened on NXT UK this week. It was episode number 32 and it was aired on the 27th of the 2nd, 2019. It was filmed in Phoenix. It is the last one to be filmed in Phoenix during the Worlds Collide tournament and Royal Rumble weekend, before it moves on to Coventry, which was filmed last weekend, and quite a few people I know went to that. I couldn't, I was in pantomime, but there you go. Wish I could, because it's not that far away, and that would have been really cool to report on an NXT UK that I'd actually seen. But hopefully they'll be coming around again soon to somewhere reasonably close, and we'll get tickets to go and see that. Anyway, like I say, this is everything that happened on NXT UK number 32, and we're going to take you through all of the action. Your first match of the evening in a very match-heavy episode of NXT UK is Tyler Bate versus Gentleman Jack Gallagher, and he has had a petition for Johnny Saint, and he's been petitioning Johnny Saint to come over to NXT UK. I think it's much more suited to him, but obviously this is in Phoenix, so I don't think they have any plans of putting him on NXT UK fully, and this is why we've had some sort of mixed NXT versus NXT UK matches over the last couple of weeks. Needless to say, these two are very similar in style, quite old school, quite old British wrestling style, and it's quite a slow match, but it is one for the people who appreciate technical wrestling. It was noted in my notes that the crowd was a bit flat for this one. I think basically they film all of these things all together and then chop them and change them and put them into 4 different episodes. So by the time you've got to the 4th episode of matches, the crowd's probably a bit tired, yeah, probably didn't appreciate the technical prowess of this match as much as they could have or should have, being that it was filmed in the US. I think if it was filmed in the UK, they would have got a bit more of a buzz around this. Good to see Jack Gallagher on NXT UK on a side note. Anyway, the submission advantage I have got for Jack Gallagher, and I think that would be, before I watched the match, I thought that would be the telltale sign, that would be the difference between the two. Tyler Bate is still quite versed in technical wrestling, but he tends to use his phenomenal power in moves rather than go for the submissions. But this is an absolute human game of chess from start to finish. There's lots of rest holds. Like I say, if you're not into technical wrestling, it's probably not one for you, but it's very worth watching if you are. Lots of unique counters, reminiscent of the British strong style, and again a masterclass of technical wrestling, definitely going old school on this one. The experience edge is definitely with Gallagher on this one, and Bate has not featured, basically he doesn't feature in the match pretty much at all. He just gets beaten up for quite a lot of it. Again, I feel like it wasn't as appreciated being filmed in the US as it should be, and like I say, if it was filmed in the UK, I think it would have got a bit more fanfare to it. But the focus quickly moves to Tyler Bates' left knee as Gallagher focuses on that, like a blood smelling shark smelling blood in the water, not a blood smelling shark in the water, because that'd just be weird. But Bate does have a mini fight back, but that knee is telling, and Gallagher just focuses in on it again. Little fight back, Gallagher back on top. Shot to the knee. Bate goes for the aeroplane spin. The knee gives out again, and this gives Gallagher more chance to beat on Tyler Bate. Like I say, a shark smelling blood in the water. The focus is completely on Tyler Bates' knee. But the match ends with multiple near falls as both of them roll round the ring, as the referee keeps counting one. Even the referee's getting dizzy on this one. I was getting dizzy and I was watching it on the WWE network. But they finally release each other, and Gallagher is clearly the more dizzy of the two, and Gallagher is rolled up for the roll-up pin by Tyler Bate in this one. So your winner in this one, after a very technically sound, quite entertaining from my point of view, match, Tyler Bate is your winner, and he triumphs over the debuting Jack Gallagher. We move on to the second match. Get a lot of shots of the UK training facility as well, which is pretty cool in this one. Using that more as we go through NXT UK. But this one is going to be the complete opposite of the last match. This one will not have any catch-can style wrestling. It will not have many submission moves, and they certainly won't be standing on their heads to try and get out of those submission moves should they be applied. It is Cassius Ohno, the knockout artist, versus Walter. Again, very similar in style, these two. They just beat the heck out of each other from start to finish. Test of strength to start the match. Like I say, very similar styles as they try to gain the advantage over each other. Quite slow to start with. The pace does pick up as the chops from Ohno are exchanged with Walter, and he's quickly taken out by a shoulder barge. This doesn't keep him down for very long though, as the match breaks down and Walter hits a boot onto Cassius Ohno, sending him to the outside of the ring, and Cassius Ohno flees again, rolls back into the ring, catches Walter coming in, steps on his hand, and then drops on the hand, knowing that that right hand of Walter gives him a lot of power. He hits the chops with them, he uses it for the powerbomb and things like that. Most of his moves rely on having strong hands. So Ohno is very much in control at this point, gains the advantage and beats down on Walter. Gets Walter in a neck cravat move, a three-quarter Nelson if you will, and wears down the big guy even more. But Walter uses his phenomenal power to escape this move, hitting Ohno with a body slam from the neck cravat. I don't even know how he did it, but it was, yeah, it was really, really good how he managed to. The strikes are exchanged again. Both of these guys are strikers. Walter hits a slap to Cassius Ohno's back after trying a German suplex, which was cut off. And after he hit the slap onto Ohno's back, the German suplex is executed perfectly. There's a big boot in the corner and a whoopee cushion move. I remember the whoopee cushion move being used by Doink the Clown. Basically, they run out of the corner and sit on their opponent and move away. Not quite an avalanche used by Earthquake. No, that was quite, I think that was just called the Quake, wasn't it? Because he gets back up straight away. But yeah, bringing all of his weight down on the chest of Cassius Ohno. Again, big strikes to the chest, big beats of the drum. And after another exchange, Ohno comes out on top again with a low forearm, finishing a flurry of moves between the two. Ohno telegraphs a moonsault. He tries to hit this moonsault quite a lot, never actually hits. So you think he'd learn from that, but then it's a bit like Ric Flair going up to the top and never hitting that move either. He only goes to the top to get thrown off again. Woo! Anyway, yeah, happy birthday, Ric Flair. Yeah, big drop kick by Walter. I wouldn't like to be in front of one of those, to be honest. And a massive powerbomb. Walter is your winner, gaining momentum in the NXT UK Championship title race. I think he's very much at the forefront of that race to go against Pete Dunne, the UK champion. So your winner and victor over Cassius Ohno, the veteran in this match, is the big guy from Austria, Walter. So in the next segment we get taken to the UK training facility, the UK facility where the NXT UK superstars train. So we see a training session led by Robbie Brookside. Yeah, we see Travis Banks in there, a couple of others in there, and Jordan Devlin comes down through the door and pulls Travis Banks off the apron and starts a fight with him in the training facility. But this is quickly broken up by all the other people that are there, including Robbie Brookside, and they carry on. And they started to carry on beating each other up. The scuffle is eventually separated, and Johnny Saint then announces that these two guys will have a Falls Count Anywhere match on NXT UK 33. That is next week. Looking forward to that. These two guys absolutely hate each other. In kayfabe, of course, absolutely hate each other, and I think it's going to be really, really good, as long as they don't do a screwy finish. But you do usually these things, I mean, I'm imagining that will be the main event. Usually these things are really good on NXT, so looking forward to that next week. Anyway, we're going to go straight on to the main event for this week of NXT, and it is the UK Tag Team Championships being defended by the grizzled young veterans. That is James Drake and Zach Gibson. Love those two. I also have a really, really good love of Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch, just hard-hitting, smash-mouth wrestlers. Gotta love that kind of wrestling in the US. And they've been jockeying for position for any kind of tag team championship for quite a while, and they've always put on a good show, but they've never quite won the big one. So it makes you wonder if they ever are going to win that big one. I mean, they've certainly been servants to NXT over the last year or so, filling in those gaps when they've needed them. And again, they put up another good show here against the grizzled young veteran. And I think the deciding factor in this match was how much Zach Gibson would be in or out of the ring, as he has a habit of distracting referees, nipping in when the referee's back is turned, little things that, I mean, there's definitely a move in here that I really, really love. I love the fact that he's doing it because it just makes him so heel. It's brilliant. It's, yeah, definitely how much Gibson gets in the match. Strongest man in the match, biggest man in the match. The rest of them are quite quick and hard hitting, but I think that will be the deciding factor in this one, and it certainly was by the end of it. So after a bit of jockeying for position, after a couple of rest holds, a couple of lockups, we get a blind tag, and the grizzled young veterans then get the first opening and to fully take advantage of a downed Danny Burch at this point. Lorcan manages to get a tag to Danny Burch, and Lorcan comes in as the referee is distracted by a tag on the outside of the ring. Now, obviously that tag doesn't count because both guys were on the apron. They knew this, and they are manipulating the rules, and this is what I really like about Zach Gibson. He knows what he's doing when he's miffing people off, and it's really, really cool. So much so that I think I'm going to order one of his t-shirts because they're really, really cool as well. Anyway, tag to Drake on the outside as the referee is distracted, and the grizzled young veterans get the advantage again. And once again, isolation of Oney Lorcan as the grizzled young veterans rain down with powerful precision and beat down Oney Lorcan for several minutes before Danny Burch gets the hot tag. The governor comes in, takes out the grizzled young veterans, Drake and Gibson, with multiple German suplexes as Drake is isolated by Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan. Isolated with a knee to the jaw and a powerbomb. Burch puts up a massive fight here as Zach Gibson manages to get back in the ring, again using those heel tactics, distracting the referee and doing all those kind of things so Drake can get a little bit of a breather. Massive fight. The grizzled young veterans use great tag team chemistry, and they have great tag team chemistry to gain the advantage once again in this match. Very back and forth in this match between the two teams. Tag to Oney Lorcan, who hits a double blockbuster near fall after a European Doomsday device. So basically, Oney Lorcan had, I think it was James Drake on his shoulders. Danny Burch jumps off, gives him a European uppercut. So I've called that the European Doomsday device, or maybe I'll just call it Brexit, because that is pretty much what it is. Anyway, near fall is broken up by a backdrop on Lorcan. So Oney Lorcan gets a single leg Boston Crab on Zach Gibson. No, on James Drake. Gibson locks in the Shankly Gate on Danny Burch, both looking at each other. One tag team in one move, the other in the other move. So there's no give here. So who's going to give up first? Zach Gibson slaps Oney Lorcan. Obviously, with Gibson's move, he can do that with one arm. Oney Lorcan's move, he cannot. He has to have both arms locked in on the single leg Boston Crab to make it work. Slaps to Oney Lorcan. Oney Lorcan releases his move and grabs Gibson by the jaw. This then leads to a lot of slaps to Gibson's face. Lorcan on top as Gibson shoves him off the top rope as the grizzled young veterans try another tag team move. Shoves him off the top rope. Lorcan then flies and high angle DDT. High angle DDT for a near fall. Near falls by Drake, tries to use the ropes, and Zach Gibson holds his feet to the rope. Strikes traded, and this leads to a ticket to mayhem on Danny Burch. No one's getting out of that for the win. The grizzled young veterans retain their championships in Phoenix against a very game Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan, and it was one heck of a tag team match. If you are training to be a wrestler and you want to be in a tag team and you want to be in a heel tag team, take notes from the grizzled young veterans, because they are very, very good at using their tag team chemistry and riling up the crowd anywhere they go. I mean, this is NXT UK, it's filmed in the US, but they still hate Gibson. Not to the point where they took the shoes off, which was a bit disappointing, but they do retain their championships and gain heat while they do it, and it is absolutely beautiful. It's a beautiful thing to watch. So your winners are the grizzled young veterans, keeping their championships a little while longer. It makes you wonder who their next opponents are going to be. Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan move on as a tag team, maybe get another tag team championship shot in a multi-man tag match that I see coming on the next takeover event, which will be before WrestleMania, obviously. So yeah, that's your last match. And so that is everything that happened on NXT UK this week. It took place on the, well, it was aired rather on the 27th of February 2019 on the WWE Network, and yeah, one hell of a show. Seems to be getting better and better and better. It's not losing any momentum. I think having it in Phoenix as well for the last 4 shows has been slightly different as well, because we've had NXT superstars on the brand as well, which is really cool. So yeah, that is everything that happened in NXT UK this week. You've been the Cheap Shot Nation. I have been your host Luke, and you're watching Cheap Shot Entertainment. If you like what we do here, we're getting momentum, make sure you click that subscribe button and hit a Walter-sized dropkick on that notification bell to know when we upload new videos. We've got a very full March coming up for you. We've got WrestleGate Pro, we've got Wrestling Resurgence, we've got Aspire, we've got Hope Future and Southside Wrestling, 3 different promotions that we've never been to before, and I'm very much looking forward to going to see. And that's that. So if you've liked the video, thank you for watching, and make sure you support us here on Cheap Shot Entertainment, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.